Lost dog brings girl home safely, but she was never lost. Asterisk. The autumn afternoon was crisp and golden as 8-year-old Emma Patterson walked home from Riverside Elementary School, her pink backpack bouncing with each step. She had taken this route hundreds of times before, but today felt different somehow. The familiar streets seemed quieter than usual, and the shadows cast by the towering oak trees appeared longer and more mysterious than she remembered. Emma was an independent child, mature for her age, and her parents had recently given her permission to walk home alone from school. It was only 6 blocks to a safe neighborhood where everyone knew each other, and Emma felt proud of this new responsibility. She had her house key on a bright yellow lanyard around her neck and strict instructions to go straight home, lock the door, and call her mother at work to confirm her safe arrival. As she turned onto Maple Street, just 3 blocks from home, Emma noticed a large golden retriever sitting on the sidewalk ahead of her. The dog appeared to be alone, with no owner in sight, and something about its posture suggested it was lost or confused. Emma had always loved animals, and despite her parents' warnings about approaching strange dogs, she felt drawn to help this beautiful creature that seemed to need assistance. "Hey there, boy," Emma said softly, approaching the dog with her hand extended for him to sniff. "Are you lost? Where's your family?" The golden retriever looked up at Emma with intelligent brown eyes that seemed almost human in their expressiveness. He was a magnificent dog, well-groomed and clearly well cared for, with a thick coat that gleamed in the afternoon sunlight. Around his neck was a collar, but Emma couldn't see any identification tags from where she stood. The dog stood up, wagged his tail gently, accepting Emma's gentle pats with the calm demeanor of a dog accustomed to children. There was something about his behavior that struck Emma as unusual. He didn't seem frantic or distressed like she would expect a lost dog to be. Instead, he appeared purposeful, as if he had been waiting for something or someone. "You're such a good boy," Emma said, scratching behind his ears. "But I need to get home. My mom will worry if I'm late." As Emma started to continue on her way, something extraordinary happened. The golden retriever began walking alongside her, matching her pace perfectly and staying close to her side as if he had appointed himself as her escort. Emma looked around for the dog's owner, expecting someone to call him back, but the street remained empty except for the two of them. Emma found herself in a dilemma. She knew she should go straight home as her parents had instructed, but she also felt responsible for this beautiful dog who seemed to have attached himself to her. A golden retriever walked beside her with the confidence of a dog who knew exactly where he was going, occasionally looking up at her with those intelligent eyes as if to reassure her that everything was fine. "I wish I knew your name," Emma said to the dog as they walked. "You're so well behaved. You must belong to someone who loves you very much. They're probably worried sick about you." The dog seemed to understand her words, tilting his head and giving a soft whine that sounded almost like he was trying to communicate something important. Emma noticed that he kept looking ahead down the street, as if he was guiding her toward a specific destination. As they approached the corner of Maple and Oak Street, Emma realized they were taking a slightly different route than she usually took home. Normally, she would turn left on Oak Street and walk 2 more blocks to her house. But the golden retriever seemed to be leading her straight ahead, down a part of Maple Street she rarely explored. "Wait, boy," Emma said, stopping at the corner. "My house is this way." She pointed toward Oak Street, but the dog remained firmly planted in his position, looking down Maple Street with an intensity that made Emma pause. That's when she heard it, a sound that made her blood run cold. From somewhere ahead, in the direction the dog was looking, came the sound of a man's voice, calling out in a way that didn't sound friendly or safe. Emma couldn't make out the words, but there was something about the tone that triggered every instinct her parents had taught her about stranger danger The golden retriever seemed to sense Emma's fear and moved closer to her, his body language shifting from casual companionship to protective alertness. He positioned himself between Emma and the direction of the voice, his ears perked forward and his muscles tense. "Good boy," Emma whispered, suddenly understanding that this dog wasn't lost at all. He was exactly where he needed to be, doing exactly what he was supposed to do. "You're protecting me, aren't you?" The dog looked up at her with those wise brown eyes, and Emma could have sworn she saw him nod slightly. Without another word, she turned left onto Oak Street, following her usual route home, with the golden retriever staying close by her side dot as they walked. Emma noticed that the dog kept looking back over his shoulder, as if he was making sure they weren't being followed. His protective behavior made her realize that something potentially dangerous had been waiting for her on that stretch of Maple Street, something that this mysterious guardian had helped her avoid. When Emma and the golden retriever reached her house, she was surprised to see her mother's car in the driveway. Jennifer Patterson wasn't supposed to be home from work for another hour, but there she was, standing on the front porch with a worried expression on her face. "Emma," Jennifer called out, relief flooding her voice as she saw her daughter approaching. "Thank goodness you're safe. I was just about to come looking for you." Emma ran to her mother, the golden retriever following close behind. "Mom." "What? Are you doing home so early? And look, I found this dog. I think he might be lost." Jennifer knelt down to hug her daughter, then looked at the golden retriever with surprise. "He's beautiful, honey, but he doesn't look lost to me. Look at his collar. He's obviously well cared for." Emma looked more closely at the dog's collar and gasped. There, hanging from a small ring, was a brass nameplate that read Guardian, along with a phone number. But what caught her attention even more was a small note attached to the collar with a piece of string. "Mom, there's a note," Emma said, carefully untying the string. She unfolded the small piece of paper and read aloud. "If you're reading this, Guardian has done his job. Please call the number on his tag. A friend who cares." Jennifer's eyes widened as she read the note over Emma's shoulder. "This is very strange, Emma. It's almost like someone knew you would need help today." As if on cue, Jennifer's phone rang. The caller ID showed the same number that was on Guardian's tag. With trembling hands, Jennifer answered the call. "Mrs. Patterson?" said a calm, elderly voice on the other end. "My name is Robert Harrison. I believe my dog Guardian has just brought your daughter home safely." "Yes, he has," Jennifer replied, her voice filled with confusion and gratitude. "But I don't understand. How did you know Emma would need help? And how did Guardian find her?" Robert's voice was gentle but serious. "Mrs. Patterson, I need you to call the police immediately. There's a man who has been watching your daughter's route home from school for the past week. He was planning to approach her today on Maple Street. Guardian was there to make sure that didn't happen." Jennifer felt her knees go weak. "What are you talking about? Who are you? How do you know about this?" "I'm someone who has spent many years watching over children in this neighborhood," Robert explained. "I have my ways of knowing when a child is in danger. Guardian is specially trained to intervene in situations like this. He's been following Emma's route for the past few days, making sure she stays safe." Emma listened to her mother's side of the conversation with growing amazement. Guardian sat beside her, his tail wagging gently, as if he was proud of a job well done. "The police are already on their way to arrest the man who was waiting for Emma," Robert continued. "He won't be able to hurt her or any other child. But I wanted to make sure Emma got home safely first." Within 20 minutes, 2 police cars had arrived at the Patterson house. Detective Sarah Martinez, a specialist in crimes against children, took charge of the situation and began interviewing Emma and her mother about their encounter with Guardian and the mysterious phone call from Robert Harrison. This is one of the most unusual cases I've encountered," Detective Martinez told Jennifer as they sat in the living room. "We did indeed arrest a man on Maple Street who matches the description of someone who has been reported lurking around elementary schools in the area. He had materials in his possession that suggest he was planning to abduct a child." Emma sat on the couch with Guardian beside her, the dog's presence providing comfort as she listened to the adults discuss the danger she had unknowingly avoided. "Detective Martinez," Emma said quietly, "Guardian isn't really lost, is he? He was sent to protect me." Detective Martinez looked at the intelligent golden retriever with new respect. "You're right, Emma. Guardian is what we call a protection dog. He's been trained to recognize dangerous situations and to guide people away from harm." "But who is Robert Harrison?" Jennifer asked. "And how did he know Emma was in danger?" Detective Martinez consulted her notes. "Robert Harrison is a retired police detective who has been working privately to protect children in this area for the past 5 years. He has an extensive network of contacts and resources that help him identify potential threats before they can harm children." She explained that Robert had been tracking the suspicious man for several days, gathering evidence of his intentions while coordinating with law enforcement to ensure a safe arrest. He knew the man was planning to make his move today, so he positioned Guardian along Emma's route home as a precaution. Emma looked down at Guardian, who was resting his head on her lap. "So you were never lost at all, were you, boy? You were doing your job." Guardian's tail wagged, and he looked up at Emma with those wise brown eyes that seemed to hold secrets and stories of other children he had protected. "Robert Harrison has been responsible for preventing at least a dozen child abductions over the past 5 years," Detective Martinez continued. "He works quietly, behind the scenes, using dogs like Guardian to intervene when children are in danger. Most of the time, the children never even know they were in danger." Jennifer shook her head in amazement. "So Emma was never really safe walking home alone. There was a predator watching her, planning to hurt her, and we had no idea." "That's unfortunately more common than most parents realize," Detective Martinez said gently. "But the good news is that there are people like Robert Harrison who dedicate their lives to protecting children. Guardian is one of several dogs he has trained for this specific purpose." An hour later, as the police were finishing their investigation, a modest sedan pulled up in front of the Patterson house. An elderly man in his 70s got out of the car and walked slowly up the driveway, using a cane to steady himself. He had kind eyes and a gentle smile, and Guardian immediately ran to greet him with obvious joy and affection. "You must be Robert Harrison," Jennifer said, stepping forward to meet him. "I am," Robert replied, kneeling down to embrace Guardian. "And you must be Emma. I'm so glad you're safe, young lady." Emma approached Robert with curiosity and gratitude. "Mr. Harrison, Guardian is the most amazing dog I've ever met. How did you train him to do what he does?" Robert smiled, his eyes twinkling with pride as he looked at Guardian. "Guardian is very special, Emma. He's what we call an intervention dog. He's been trained to recognize when children are in danger and to guide them away from harmful situations." Robert explained that he had been a police detective for 30 years before retiring, and during his career, he had seen too many cases where children were harmed by predators. "When I retired, I decided to dedicate my life to preventing those tragedies from happening. I trained dogs like Guardian to be protectors, to watch over children when their parents can't be there." "But how did you know Emma was in danger?" Jennifer asked. Robert's expression grew serious. "I've been tracking the man who was arrested today for several weeks. He had a pattern of targeting young girls who walked home alone from school. Emma fit his profile, and I knew he was planning to make his move today." He explained that he had been discreetly monitoring Emma's route home for the past week, positioning Guardian strategically to intervene if necessary. Guardian has been trained to approach children in a non-threatening way, to gain their trust, and then to guide them away from danger. He's prevented 12 potential abductions in the past 3 years. Emma looked at Guardian with new understanding and appreciation. So when I thought I was helping a lost dog, he was actually helping me. That's exactly right, Robert said. Guardian is very good at making children think they're helping him, when actually he's the one doing the helping. It's all part of his training. Jennifer wiped tears from her eyes. Mr. Harrison, I don't know how to thank you. You saved my daughter's life today. Robert waved off her thanks with a gentle gesture. This is what I do, Mrs. Patterson. Every child deserves to be safe, and sometimes that means having a guardian angel with 4 legs and a tail. 3 months after her encounter with Guardian, Emma's life had returned to normal, but she was forever changed by the experience. She no longer walked home alone from school. Jennifer had rearranged her work schedule to pick Emma up every day. But Emma often thought about the golden retriever who had protected her from a danger she never even knew existed. Robert Harrison had become a regular visitor to the Patterson household, stopping by occasionally to check on Emma and to share stories about Guardian's other rescues. Emma learned that Guardian was one of 5 dogs that Robert had trained for protection work, and that together they had prevented numerous crimes against children throughout the city. Mr. Harrison, Emma said during one of his visits, I want to help other kids stay safe, like Guardian helped me. Is there something I can do? Robert smiled at Emma's earnest desire to help others. Actually, Emma, there is something very important you can do. You can teach other children about safety, about trusting their instincts, and about the importance of accepting help when it's offered. Emma began speaking at school assemblies and community events, sharing her story and teaching other children about personal safety. She always emphasized that sometimes help comes in unexpected forms, like a lost dog who isn't really lost at all. Guardian continued his work as a protection dog, but he had formed a special bond with Emma. Robert would sometimes bring him by for visits, and Emma would spend hours playing with him and marveling at his intelligence and training. Guardian taught me that angels don't always have wings, Emma told a group of 2nd graders during one of her safety presentations. Sometimes they have 4 legs and a wet nose, and they show up exactly when you need them most. The story of Emma and Guardian became legendary in their community, inspiring other parents to be more vigilant about their children's safety and encouraging law enforcement to support programs like Robert's. Several other retired police officers reached out to Robert, wanting to learn how to train protection dogs of their own. Jennifer Patterson became an advocate for child safety, working with schools and community organizations to educate parents about the dangers that children face and the importance of having safety plans in place. She often spoke about how Guardian had saved Emma, not just from physical harm, but from the trauma that would have followed. We think we're protecting our children by teaching them about stranger danger, Jennifer would tell parent groups, but sometimes the real protection comes from sources we never expect. Guardian looked like a lost dog, but he was actually a highly trained protector who saved my daughter's life. On the 1st anniversary of Emma's rescue, Robert brought Guardian to the Patterson house for a special celebration. Emma had baked a dog-friendly cake, and the whole family gathered to honor a golden retriever who had changed their lives. Guardian, Emma said, hugging the dog tightly, you're the best friend I never knew I needed. Thank you for keeping me safe. Guardian wagged his tail and licked Emma's face, his wise brown eyes reflecting the satisfaction of a job well done. He had done what he was trained to do, protect an innocent child from harm, and in doing so, he had reminded everyone that sometimes the most extraordinary heroes come in the most ordinary disguises. The bond between Emma and Guardian would last for years to come, a testament to the power of protection, the importance of vigilance, and the incredible capacity of animals to serve as guardians for those who need them most. If this incredible story of unexpected protection and canine heroism has touched your heart, please subscribe to our channel for more amazing true stories that prove guardian angels come in all forms. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to join our community of people who believe in the extraordinary power of protection and the incredible bond between humans and animals.